At least one person has died, and around 80 others were injured in Nepal, as a powerful protest movement called the Gen Z Revolution took place on the 8th of September. It started as an online outcry against government corruption and recent restrictions on social media. But on 8th September, it has turned into large protests in the streets of Kathmandu. Thousands of young people are standing up against the government, led by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. They say the government is trying to silence their voices by limiting access to social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The protests began because of growing frustration over corruption and economic inequality in Nepal. However, the immediate cause of the protests was the government's decision to ban several major social media platforms. According to the administration, these social media companies have not followed orders to open offices in Nepal and register properly to pay taxes. The government issued an order to the Nepal Telecommunication Authority (NTA), which directed all internet service providers to block the social media platforms. But many young people see this as an attack on freedom of expression. They believe the government is trying to silence anyone who speaks against it. This is why they are protesting not just online, but also in the streets. The Gen Z revolution began on social media, where young activists organized and shared information. Even after the government imposed phone and internet blackouts, activists found ways to keep the protest alive. They turned to apps like TikTok and Reddit to spread the word. Thousands of young people gathered in Kathmandu's Maitigar Mandala and marched towards the Parliament building, chanting slogans against the government and its new policies. Some protesters managed to breach restricted zones and break through police barricades. As tensions increased, the police responded with gunfire, injuring several demonstrators. The situation became so serious that the government imposed a curfew in key areas of the capital, especially around Parliament. The movement was not limited to students and young activists. Scores of Nepali journalists also joined the protests, carrying placards with messages like "No ban," "Freedom of expression is our right," and "Democracy is being hacked, dictatorship is coming back." The protests were organized by former office bearers and members of the Federation of Nepali Journalists, the main body representing journalists in Nepal. Taranath Dahal, former president of the Federation, said, "We are here to protest against this government order." He argued that the social media ban is a direct attack on the right to free speech. The government insists that the ban is necessary to enforce administrative rules and tax laws. They claim the social media companies failed to meet deadlines to open offices and register in Nepal. A Supreme Court ruling on August 17th required social media companies to follow these registration rules. Despite this, the social media bill titled "The Operation, Use and Regulation of Social Media in Nepal" has not yet been passed by the Parliament. Still, the government argues that companies must register and pay taxes to operate in Nepal. The decision to block over 24 social media platforms sparked widespread anger. For many in Nepal, especially the younger generation, social media is not just for fun. It is a space where they express opinions, share news, and organize for social causes. Young people, especially students and activists, believe this move is a way to control what they see and say. Despite efforts to shut down these digital platforms, protests continued to grow in size and intensity.